So welcome to LinkedIn Not Live. I am very excited to be here chatting with Holland Saltsman of The Novel Neighbor and our surprise guest, Erik Bursch of USA Today. And we are talking about the relaunch, I'm going to say the launch, the relaunch of the USA Today best-selling books list. Welcome, Holland. Welcome, Erik.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
I'm bummed that we're not going to be able to get comments, but at least we get to talk about it, and we'll go from there. But and for those of anyway, we've sort of already talked about this on a different recording, but here we go. The list launched yesterday. We were just sort of talking about it before, about the enthusiasm and people being very excited about it. So Erik, I'm going to put you on the spot to sort of bring us up to speed on why is this, sort of the feedback you were getting, why this is so exciting. And yes, it did indeed come back from hiatus. What does it mean, and how did that come about?
Yeah, sure. So just for background, this is something that USA Today has done since 1993. We've had a book list published, started in print, and then moved into a digital format along with print over the years. And we really consider this to be the people's book list with the amount of sources that we bring in, and that we add no editorial oversight to it. This is driven completely by data and by the data that we receive from the wide spectrum of sources that contribute to this. So yes, it went on hiatus in December, and previously, the work up until December, it was a very manual process for us to do, and we took in a lot of sources, and really just became burdensome for the staff that we had, at the time, to be able to continue on doing it. And my responsibilities at Gannett and USA Today is for our digital consumer product organization and engineering. So I took our folks on my staff, went and attacked the problem and built attacked it from a technology standpoint, and found a way to automate a lot of all the sources that we have coming in, and put us in a position that we can relaunch, not just as it was. A lot of people hear the phrase hiatus and they think it's going to be it's never coming back. But it was always an intention for us to bring it back, but we feel like we're bringing it back in a much better state. Certainly, focusing on the best-selling list coming back as a centerpiece, but with a lot of connections into with our new partners that we brought in, and the independent bookstore network. So we're very excited about this.
And a lot of other people were too. It was getting great buzz and publicity. And Holland, just full disclosure, is my sister, for those who don't know, but more importantly, she's the owner of the Novel Neighbor Bookstore, which is an independent bookstore in St. Louis, and is also part of this collaborative partnership. Holland, what did it mean for you when we started having these conversations? What was important and exciting for you about the list coming back, and kind of book content, other opportunities and ideas for book content on USA Today?
Sure. Well, everybody loves the USA Today bestseller list. So we were just thrilled with, just the conversation that was coming back. And then in those very, very early conversations, it was decided or discussed or brainstormed that it should have a real independent bookstore supported focus. And that was just, that can't only be good news. And so we were talking about bookshop.org, which supports indie bookstores. Every purchase on bookshop.org, 10% goes to indie bookstores. And they've, I think, generated millions already since the inception. And so it's a real coup to be able to have that accessibility and that education out there for people to know about bookshop.org as a place to purchase books and support indies online. The opportunity to also just, there's a new feature about a featured indie bookstore that's also going to be part of this. And so the breadth and diversity of independent bookstores across this wonderful nation is just unbelievable. And so to be able to introduce people to the different work that people are doing, the different type of bookstores that are out there, and just sort of the interesting strides that we're making as a profession is going to be great.
I love that. Sorry, I am listening. I'm just trying to also manage if anybody has comments who can't see this live. I'm going to make sure to get questions. So bringing in the bookshop.org, bring that piece of the partnership. For those who don't know bookshop.org, can you share a little bit about them? I've explained to people, authors know them, the publishing industry knows them, but I'm not sure I'm not sure the entire kind of reading universe knows about bookshop.org.
Are you asking that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the way that it was introduced to us, or the way that we try to educate consumers about it, it's the anti-Amazon. I mean, truthfully, that's the way that we explain it. I do. I mean, that's the way we explain it. So if you want to be supporting independent bookstores, but maybe you don't have an independent bookstore in your neighborhood, it's a great way to do it. And it's got great content. They have their own lists of, whether it's, AAPI month and you're wanting to know what authors to read for that particular month. They've got great content, on bookshop.org. And then just the work that they're doing to support indies is just phenomenal. So it's just an online book. It's an online organization or an online company that you can go and buy books. And they've got great descriptions and great recommendations. And so we're very excited to be partnering with them.
And Erik, can I ask you from your standpoint, just the change in how the book list is run and how you're incorporating the bookshop.org piece?
Yeah, I think so. The best-selling book list was and is a USA Today product. A lot of people don't know that USA Today is owned by Gannett, and Gannett has properties in over 45 states in the U.S. and small communities and large metro areas. And I think the mission of Gannett in a lot of ways is to be there for our communities in as many ways as possible. And I think that when you look at communities and what forms communities inside of those communities, the local independent bookstore is a great example of that. So as we were talking about how we're bringing the list back, we wanted to bring it back with a connection to our communities. And certainly we're doing that with bookshop.org, and Holland did a great job explaining that. Obviously, our relationship with Novel Neighbor itself has really allowed us to expand some of the unique content that we have on our site, and also highlight what they're doing, on their side of things. And then a partnership with ABA. And we believe that the breadth of those three partnerships is allowing us to really elevate the voice of the independent bookstore across these different communities. There's so many. I'm a book fan from a young age, and there's so many different unique things that bookstores do from store to store to store that is so unique and special, and we want to highlight those along with supporting them.
I love that piece of it, and it's exciting. So I kind of come to this from a slightly different view, and thinking about what this means for authors. And Erik, one of the points you always make is this list is 150 books. Other lists out there tend to not go very deep. They're 10 or they're 15. So from the author, the perspective of the book publishing industry, this is really exciting because it's another chance to quote unquote become a bestseller, with a legitimate list, the people's list. And so this is what's really exciting for the author and the publisher community. And I've heard people say that, and especially people who are publishing books slightly differently, or, since the book list was launched, how you publish a book looks very different than it did before. So it's opened the window back up for other books to get recognition. Have you heard from that, Holland?
Well, I happen to be, I have a friend who works with one of the major publishing houses, and I went by her office yesterday to kind of watch. We were fortunate, the partnership was fortunate enough that Jenna and Hoda were talking about the relaunch of the book list yesterday. So it was fun that I swung by their offices to kind of watch that live. And there were multiple people from publicists to editors that were in and out of the office, just kind of seeing what we were doing. And they're thrilled. I mean, they're very excited to have this list back. They definitely think there's a space for it, a need for it. So truly, while it was happening, the excitement is there.
That's awesome. And Erik, you come from the product side, but you're eventually obviously working with the book content team, and so I know this is great news for them. They're very excited about it. How's it sort of going from their side, or what are you hearing from the content side?
Well, so I mean, I think they've been very, very excited throughout this whole process of us working to get this relaunched, and we have such an awesome team on the content side of things. Really happy to just be there to highlight their work and what they're doing. Both from a traditional written content format, but also what they're doing with author interviews and creating the community of books and all things USA Today on our side of things. So there's been a lot of excitement there, and I'm happy to play a small part in really lifting up their voice and bringing our new partners into the mix. And I think it's a really strong team as you look at what we do within our books content side of things and what our partners bring to the table. Certainly I think it's a lot stronger of a formula than we had in the past.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm just thinking for people who are sort of like next steps or some sort of specific information. Correct, Eric? The list comes out what time? Every week?
So it comes out digitally every Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's there digitally. There is a PDF download available for you from a digital standpoint, and then it will come out in print the following day. So Thursday it will come out in print. We focus, as we always have, on the top 50 on the print side of things, but we should be all 150 on the digital side of things.
And a shout out. That's the first list that comes out. The first list that comes out each week, just asking for competitive purposes.
I'll speak to when we come out. We come out on Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern. Okay.
Very safe of you. Sorry, I interrupted you. You're going to say something else about your list before I interrupted you rudely.
No, I think that you can get to the list with booklist.usatoday.com is the route that will get you there. We have contact information on there. I've already communicated with double digits of questions that have come in from local independent bookstores about how to submit their sale data to us, and we're really excited about that. Also, how to be involved in this effort that we're doing, and certainly Holland and Novel Neighbor itself are also taking a lot of feedback that's coming in, and they're a partner of ours with getting some of the new types of content out there. So we're very excited about what we have coming up.
Awesome. And Holland, I know you got the question, and this is kind of for both of you, like if people want to get the list sent to them, is there, I mean, do they have to come on, or will the USA Today book email be sending people, will you be sending the list out if people want to get on an email list, if they don't remember to come to your list every Wednesday at 6 o'clock? Oh, look, sorry.
So I should have mentioned this earlier. So we do have a books newsletter, email newsletter that comes out every Thursday, which will certainly be highlighting the best-selling book list itself, but also a lot of the unique content that we have. I'm really excited. We did I should say in partnership with Novel Neighbor, we did a story on Taylor Swift and the looks as books, as we call it. And it's, just content that's just really refreshing, I think, to our USA Today audience, but also refreshing from how we're taking a view of what's happening outside of the book world and bringing it to a connection inside the book world. Very unique.
And that's a perfect segue that I wanted to just sort of give a shout out to Holland Novel Neighbors. Is one of those content pieces that's new is the Dear Bookseller, right? Can you talk a little bit about the Dear Bookseller piece, or the help me find some reading material piece, as we called it?
Sure. During the pandemic, we were trying to find a way to fulfill people's requests and needs for books and merchandise when they couldn't come in the store for a couple of months. And so we started with FaceTiming around the store, showing people different things. And then we just started getting emails of people who would just sort of, say, I need to get a birthday gift for, a 12-year-old who likes soccer, rainbows, and graphic novels. And here's the budget. And we're like, oh, okay, we can do that. Or my neighbor's, birthday's coming up, and 65 and likes gardening, whiskey, and, bios. And so we were like, this is actually a thing that we could collect information and help people pick these books out, or some of the fun merchandise and locally made merchandise that we have. So we started mystery boxes, and what has turned into I would say every 2 or 3 that we'll get people that just sort of have a really quick, and, for myself, I read this and I want this, and here's my budget. So, I'm a romance reader. I like this. And, but other times we have gotten letters that have just warmed our hearts, or cracked us up, because it might be somebody who is going on vacation and they just want like pick out 6 staff reads for us, and then they write a personal note to themselves that we then write to them, so that comes as part of their package. That's like, you've kicked butt, you've had a great year, you deserve this time off. And it's just funny that they're sort of affirming themselves, and we get to be a part of it. And then sometimes we'll add more personal notes, or somebody who was lovelorn and wanted a recommendation for some books because they needed to believe in love again. And it was just this real kind of love story. And so I think 9 of us were in the store that day, and we all wrote a personal note to this person. And so we think sort of sharing the content of not only people's true stories about how literature can help, and how books can emotionally connect with people, as well as just some really fun stuff. So people can read what we put in those boxes, or what we would put in those boxes now, because there's new books coming out all the time. I think it's going to get, I think people are definitely going to read that every week.
I love it. And before we close up, I also want to sort of tease out, and Erik, this goes to, like, this is the beginning. It's an evolving process. The list is evolving. More data is coming. We hope more features are coming. So, but, you know, it's out. It's exciting. We're glad it's back. But can you speak to, like, it's not going to stay static. Like, the hope is that it continues to get, you know, better and more interesting and robust in terms of the product that it is.
Certainly, and you know, it was such a monumental push to get us to where we are today, and certainly celebrating that we relaunched yesterday. But my motto is, where we are at relaunch and where we're at 2 weeks later, 5 weeks later, et cetera, are 2 different places, and we already have a ton of you know, sort of features in the works, you know, and other things that we want to do and produce, whether it could be tying in with events that are happening locally or nationally. You know, bringing more content, more call outs to all the very unique and cool things that are being done in the different communities with the different independent bookstores. You know, a lot of that's in the works, and I would, you know, I don't envision our platform to stay the same as it was when it was launched yesterday. You know, we're excited to have an ever growing ecosystem.
I think that's a great way to end, in the terms of, like, more to come. Watch this space. Holland and Erik, thank you so much for your time. I like the idea that this is just the beginning. So I will put lots of links in the show notes. I'm sorry this wasn't live. That bums me out, because I would have loved to have, like, be able to field questions, but maybe we'll have to do it again and get some feedback. But I
think this could easily be like a monthly segment that we round back and talk about how great things are. Okay.
Well, let's more to come. Thank you both. I really appreciate your time, and we'll see you at the USA Today Books List page. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. See ya.